broadcasting from the SVCC Chocolate Rendezvous Sweetland Studios.
Hello again, and welcome to Along the Rock, our podcast that pays homage to the people of the Sauk Valley, the valley and the river that runs through it. I'm your host, Mark Morris. My guests today, Tom Wadsworth, former radio announcer, by the way.
Yeah.
And Chris Tennyson is with the Regional Office of Education. He is the honcho there, if you will, the director. And both of these guys are involved in the Regional Spelling Bee coming up for Whiteside, Lee, and Ogle counties on the 20th, I guess it is. Tom, you've been doing this forever. Tell us about the Regional Spelling Bee, and maybe we'll get into a few of those interesting statistics you have compiled over the years.
Well, my first year was 1983, when I was asked to be the pronouncer for the Lee County Spelling Bee. At that time, they had a Lee County superintendent of schools, and each county had their own superintendent. And so I was the pronouncer for the Lee County Spelling Bee. And in time, Lee and Ogle merged.
Okay.
And then maybe you remember when, Chris, then Lee, Ogle, and Whiteside merged 10 years ago. When was it?
I think it was about 11 or 12 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The time flies when you're having fun. So I've been doing this. This year will be my 43rd Regional Bee for the. I've had over 1,000 contestants come in front of me that have all been from the schools in this area.
Sure.
Little kids, sometimes third graders up to eighth graders, boys and girls, and it's fun to watch them go on later in life. And they're almost always great kids, high achievers, good students who end up doing well. That first, let's talk about my first spelling bee champion back in '83.
Okay.
Was little Jackie Harrison of Amboy, from Amboy Junior High.
All right.
And little Jackie Harrison then went on to become a doctor. And she is now a surgeon in Chicago. And she also competed on Jeopardy!
Really?
And was one of their multiple champions for several days and won, I don't know, $63,000 or something. And Jackie comes back every year to Dixon to the Stupor Bowl, which is upcoming this weekend. But I'm muddying the water here. And
well, that's okay. That's okay. So I guess you could say that, as you might expect, memory is a big part of being a great speller.
It is. And we tell the kids studying is crucial for this. And each of our contestants, like in this month, will have access to a word list. And I think maybe 1,500 words on the list or something. And so they can be studying all along and learning those 1,500 words, which is a lot, and a lot of them are very hard. So studying and memorizing becomes crucial to doing well at the Regional Bee.
Right. Now, they've changed the rules a little bit, you told me, over the years. It's no longer third graders through eighth graders. It's now fifth graders through eighth graders.
That's right, Chris?
It is correct.
Yeah.
Yep. It's open to any fifth grader through eighth grader in the schools that are 3 counties.
Last year's winner was from, I guess, Fulton Unity Christian.
Yeah.
Boy named Jake Bailey.
Yes.
So...
Now, the interesting thing about Jake, he was one of the very first champions we've had from Whiteside County.
Okay.
We had one other. It was the second time we had a Whiteside County champion win at the Regional Bee for Lee, Ogle, and Whiteside. Mm-hmm. But Jake was interesting in that he's a boy. And get these statistics right, 21 out of the last 26 years, the winner has been a female. So Jake was a boy that turned that tide and changed the trajectory for a while. We'll see how long that holds. Yeah, go Jake. The male of the species has been doing poorly for a while, but he may change things.
Okay. Well, the Regional Office of Education, Chris, has a part in this. And what are they having you do?
Really, my job is to show up and to talk to the contestants a little bit, which is one of my favorite things to do every year, is to show up and be there see all the young men and women that were the champions from their schools that get sent to our school, and then to sit back and watch Tom run this wonderful event. And I also love, we have a practice the night before, and it's really, when you watch our bee or you come to our bee, 5th through 8th graders, and they seem pretty calm. You know, for a big event like that, they seem pretty calm. And the first year that I was in charge of the bee, I went to the practice event that Tom runs for us the night before.
Sure.
And we stressed to all these contestants, you really don't want to miss that practice night. And a big reason that they're so calm is for what he runs through with them that night before. He does a wonderful job talking to the contestants, letting them know how things are going to go. There's no surprises, gets them ready for being up there. We give them all a word or two to go through in a practice round. And I think that really, really helps. So when they get there for the event the next day, I think they feel a lot better. But it's a wonderful event. I look forward to it every year. This will be my 4th year working the event, and I always play along. Usually I'm out by round 2 or 3 when I start listening to the words, and I'm thinking, how did they do that, or how do they know those words? But it's like Tom said, it's amazing how hard they study and memorize the words, and then they're ready to go.
And words that most of us never use.
Some of them, you know, when I'm listening, some of them, yeah, we use that one a lot. I could get that one. But then, holy cow, there's always a round that comes up, and Tom would know better than me, like typically which round it is, that the words start to get a little bit more difficult. And then right away, those words there's some stompers in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So what kind of crowds do you get for this at the regional level?
Well, several hundred people in the Jim Welts Auditorium at Dixon High School. That's where it's held. It's always been there since I've been doing it in the last 43 years now.
Sure.
And we'll do it again at the auditorium. That thing will seat 800 to 1,000 people. There's been some years when schools throughout the 3 counties will bus in an entire class of 20 or 30 or maybe even 60 kids.
Fans.
And they'll be fans, yeah. And they'll cheer on their contestant from their school, which is really great to see. One aspect of the spelling bee that I appreciate is that it's the largest academic competition in this entire area. That it draws that many people. We have sports activities, football and basketball always attracting a lot of crowd, as they should. Mm-hmm. But this is an academic event, and usually those don't get a lot of attention. We have scholastic bowls sometimes for the kids, but there'd be a handful of parents and people who come to those. But for the spelling bee, we'll get hundreds from people or people from all over those 3 counties.
You are cordially invited to the Chocolate Rendezvous at Sauk Valley Community College. An evening of decadent chocolates, cocktails, bourbon tasting, hors d'oeuvres, and live entertainment awaits you. For event details, visit svcc.edu/chocolate today.
Well, it's a simple concept, but it's not easy.
Right.
I think that's, what people appreciate, if you will. There is a geography bee, is there not, that also operates somewhere?
I don't know. Is there a geography bee?
Obviously not here.
That's a good question for me. I know I haven't been asked to participate in those, or the regional offices haven't been a part of those in Illinois, but I'm sure across the nation somewhere there probably is.
Yeah. Yep. Not here, though. Okay. Any other interesting statistics you'd like to share with us?
Well, yeah. I started doing this my first year back in '83, and made note of the fact that the winner was a female.
Right.
And she was in the 8th grade.
Right.
And she came from Amboy. And so I started tracking where the kids come from. Was the champion in 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade, 5th grade? And how often does that happen? And how often was it a female and not a male? So, and over the years, 48% of the time, the champion at the regional bee was an 8th grader.
Okay.
Surprisingly, though, not more than 50%. So you'd think that these 8th graders have a big advantage over the younger kids, but it's only 48% of the time. But whereas one year we had a 4th grader actually won at the regional bee, beating out 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders. And that was Rebecca Ziegler of Polo. And you remember Rebecca, she won 5 times in a row. She won in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th, so up to 8th grade. winning more times than anybody has ever done at the regional B.
So you're saying that there's no limit as to how many times you could win at the regional, I suppose at the national level either. Yeah.
There's no limit up until you get past 8th grade, and then the limit ends.
You're off.
You can't win after that.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting in itself, because they get different words, they get different interests, I guess, too, after a while.
But ask about those statistics.
Yeah, right.
73% of the time over the last 40-some years, the champion has been female. Female. I mentioned earlier 21 out of the last 26 years, which is even more than that, I think. But 3/4 of the time, the champion's going to be female. I think 13-year-old girls tend to mature more than the 13-year-old boys. At least they did when I was 13 years old. And some of those 13-year-old girls are still more mature than I am at age 72. But so they do well at that level, and they continue to do well every year and have been for a long time. But the highest predictor of a champion at the Regional B is whether they have competed at the Regional B before.
Okay.
So that way they know the drill, they know what to expect, they're not as nervous as everybody else, and they tend to perform better. It's the nervousness that really drives my motivation to be involved. I want to ease the contestants, make sure they feel relaxed and comfortable and are not just going to be, because of nerves, blow it. And that's often what happens. Kids will miss a word that they know how to spell, but it's just because they're nervous. They got this giant crowd in front of them with the spotlights on this big stage and these microphones. This is not high school. This is not college. These are kids in 8th grade or less. And I remember when I was that age, and it was frightening to be up on stage in front of all of your peers. So we do what we can to put them at ease.
Middle school and junior high, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have any trouble recruiting for this? Obviously, the kids have to be, as you say, good memorization and so forth. But do you get any problems getting enough kids to compete?
It's really up to the schools.
Yeah.
There'll be some years where a school doesn't send us a champion if they don't have their B, but the school has to have their individual B first, and then their champion from their school, that is in 5th or 8th grade, gets to come and participate in our regional B, knowing that if they win the regional B, they get a chance to go out to Washington, D.C. and compete at the national level, which is really an exciting thing for them and their family.
Yeah.
And sometimes the champions come from homeschool situations. Do they not? Are you still doing that?
I would defer to you on that. It has in my long 3 or 4 year tenure here, that hasn't happened, but I don't know has it happened before.
Well, yeah, Michelle Hopp, we would have to rely on Michelle, because she's really the one who puts all this together. Yeah. She knows that we've had homeschool champions who
didn't know if they were eligible or not.
They are eligible, and they just need to go through some sort of application process to get involved. And there's been a couple of times when it was a homeschooler that ended up winning at the Regional B, which is amazing. But some of those homeschooler kids are very, very sharp.
Yeah, which means they have either fathers, mothers, or both that are very good teachers.
That's always the case.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys coming up, and I don't think there's anything I can think of that's more iconic than the spelling bee in this country. You talk about apple pie and baseball and Chevrolet and spelling bees.
What I've said to sometimes people have asked me the question, why is a spelling bee important? What's the deal here?
Okay.
And I think it's the thing that makes somebody a good speller is attention to detail.
Good point.
You begin to notice whether there's a double E in a word or an EA, whether that's a CH or a TCH or whatever. But being able, with your eye, to be able to detect the differences in there and see the details involved, that makes them to be a good speller. And it's attention to detail that becomes important in life, whether you're working at a factory job or an administrative job. Paying attention to the details, making sure everything is as it should be, is what makes often a very successful individual. It's not critical, but it is, it's often.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt at all. That's right.
All right. Tom, thanks.
Thank you.
I would, Mark, if I could add one thing.
Oh, sure,
It's just
please.
pretty exciting for me. I think this is the 100th year of the National Spelling Bee.
I was gonna ask about that,
In
but I wasn't
addition
sure.
to it being the 100th year, our champion, whoever wins this year, is going to be in for a big surprise because Tom's going to be in Washington, D.C. with our champion. He's being recognized for all his hard work that he's done with our spelling bee over the last 43 years, and that's very, very important and well-deserved. And I'm excited that Tom's going out to get recognized this year to Washington, D.C. and represent our office. So thank you, Tom, for all the hard work you've done through the years.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I love it just as much as you do. And
Very well-deserved.
this is it's a real honor to be up there on the stage at the National Spelling Bee for this. It's going to be kind of cool.
Scripts still publish or sponsoring on television?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Tom, thanks. Chris, thank you too.
Absolutely.
As well, and
Thank you, Mark.
Have fun. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
You bet. I'd also like to thank, other than our guests, I'd like to thank our entire crew for making this program possible on a regular basis. I'm Mark Morris, and hope you can join us next time along the route.